the homework, the worksheet, it was a worksheet that looked like it was off page 271, and I asked you to do 35 through 40. Do you have any questions, problems you need to see? 39 for sure. And if you can do 39, you can correct your own mistake on 40. So I'm not going to do both of those. I'll do one of them. 39 for sure. Any others? Okay, let's look at 39 then. 39, you are asked to find the exact value of the addition formula for tangent. And since it was alpha and beta, I just changed it to A and B. And then you were told that the sine of A was negative 3/5, and that the side of A was in quadrant 3. Cosine of B was in negative 1/4, and the terminal side of B is in quadrant 2. Folks, this is the part that to me is the most important, okay? Because if you know where the quadrant is, all right, quadrant 3 is here, which means negative, negative, positive. Cosine and sine are negative, tangent's positive. That is very, very important to you. Quadrant 2 is here, which is going to be negative, positive, negative, cosine, sine, and tangent. Do you guys agree with me there? If you don't know that, we got major problems. You got to know that. The second piece of this, triangle. If you can't fill out this triangle, we got problems. I just draw any random right triangle, and you guys know that I put my angle A or my angle B at the same place every time for, I don't know why I'd put it there, but that's where I put it. And if I get ready to label my first triangle with the angle A, does that mean that my opposite side, the side opposite angle A, is negative 3 feet long? Is that what that means? No, why? Distance can't be negative. The sign has to do with the quadrant in which it lies. So the negative symbol is only important to us after the fact, okay? So my opposite is 3, my hypotenuse is 5. This one's easy to figure out because that means my missing side is a what? 4. That is a Pythagorean who? Triple. Now look at the next one. Cosine of B, some old horse called A horse, adjacent over hypotenuse. Folks, ooh, what's wrong with this one? It's not a triple. We got to find a third side using the Pythagorean theorem, Pythagorean equation. So that's going to be 4 squared equals 1 squared plus x squared. You guys know I may do my ABC thing backwards from you. That's okay. It's still the same thing. But I get 16 and 1. Subtract 1 from both sides, I get 15. Take the square root of both sides, and I get the square root of 15, which is simplified. Right on? So that means my third side is root 15. Now's the important part. Now we got to find the cosine, or I always just find them all. So that means, let me go with blue. The sine of A, which is given, is 3/5. Cosine of A, some old horse called A horse, 4/5. Taking oats away, 3/4. And now I go back and I pick up my signs. Cosine is negative, sine is negative, tangent's positive. I always do that at the end, right? Same thing for angle B. Sine of B, opposite over hypotenuse is what? Root 15/4. The cosine of B, some old horse called A horse, adjacent over hypotenuse is 1/4, and the tangent, opposite over adjacent, is root 15/1, which is root 15, correct? Now I go back and I put in my what? Signs, my SIGN signs. And Sine is positive, cosine is negative, tangent's negative. That right there is very important to me. Right on? You with me so far? Have I done anything trig related yet? Maybe a little. What's the little bit of trig I've done? Just a little bit. The signs, the SIGN signs. Coming over here with the owl face. Do y'all see the owl? I know. Do you see her, though? Do you see her? See it now? On the branch, sitting on the branch, except it's her feet, not her hind end. Unless she's, okay. Focus, Hope Perry, focus. All right, so, didn't have enough caffeine at lunch. What now? No. What now? Formula. What are we trying to find? The tangent of A plus B. So, formula. Be sure you copy the formula correctly, because wouldn't it be a kick in the head if you do all that work and then you don't use the right formula? That would make me very, very, very angry. No, it wouldn't. It would make me angry if I did all this work and I used the wrong formula. It would make me very angry. Here we go. I'm going old school because y'all know I love old school. Some of you do not. That's okay. We can agree to disagree on this. Tangent of A is 3/4. Tangent of B is negative root 15. And I'm going to go ahead and put it over 1 because it's a fraction plus a fraction. You with me? Divided by 1 minus 3/4 times the tangent of B, which is negative root 15 over 1. Double parentheses. You with me? Excellent. I always get so much from your silence. 3/4 plus. Don't I have to have like denominators? Do I? Everybody cool? Divided by 1 minus. Folks, you're multiplying fractions. So multiply straight across. Negative 3 root 15 over 4. Right on? Now, this is like a 3D movie to me because it's jumping out at me. What's jumping out at me? The minus the negative becomes a what? Plus a positive. So I'm going to fix that. I'm also going to fix what with the 1 over here? 4 over 4. Can I just write that 4 plus 3 root 15 over 4? Can I do that? Is that legal? It's legal because Dante said so. Is that legal, y'all? How about this first little binomial thing? Smush it together. 3 minus 4 root 15 over 4. What have I just set myself up to do? Flip it. Multiply by the reciprocal. How many of you so far, you got everything right so far? That's good. Huh? This is where it gets tricky. And again, is this trig? This is algebra 2. It's algebra 2, y'all. This is algebra 2. Here we go. 3 minus 4 root 15. Multiply by the reciprocal. Oh, look what's getting ready to happen. 4's cancel. The 3's cancel. Yes! Why? Because they're holding hands and you don't mess with my man. Because if you mess with my man, I might punch you in your face. Don't mess with those. Right? Whatever you say, don't mess with your significant others. Maybe you should. If your significant other has an other, then maybe you should. You got bigger problems than trig. You need to take care of business if your significant other has another. All right, here we go. No. Why? This ain't 5th grade. No. This is not 5th grade. You got to fix it. What do you have to fix it? How do you fix it? The conjugate. We love the conjugate. I'm not making fun of you. Never, ever. I would never. I do love the conjugate because it's like this all, you know what it's like, y'all? No. Shut your face. Shut your face. Hundreds? Watch. What are we really multiplying by? Okay, for real. It's all dressed up. Well, all we're doing is multiplying by this real fancy dressed up prom going one. With all the bling and the fingernails and the toenails and the fancy jewelry and the fancy dress. That's prom one. Think about it. Just think about it. Because some of us, been there, done that. Some of us just want to go to the prom. So we'll go with whoever just to get together. I didn't do that. Only in the 10th grade did I do that. But that's just prom one, y'all. Now, here's the tricky part. What are you going to do on the top? You're going to foil the top. If you can't foil, you need to see me immediately. What are you going to do on the bottom? It's a difference of squares. Jansen said, you're going to fluff. You're going to fluff. I went, what? He said, you're going to only do the F and the L. And he's right. Aren't we only going to do the F and the L? We're only going to multiply the front or the first and the last, aren't we? Yeah. So here we go. Let's foil this thing out. Here we go. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times negative 3 root 15 is negative 9 root 15. Here we go. Minus 16 root 15. And then plus 12 times who? Plain old 15. Very good. And I skipped a step because I don't want to write that. Is that wrong? Is 12 root 30 wrong? Think about that. Why is that wrong? Because it's 15 times 15, not 15 plus 15. 225. Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. And it would just turn into 15 anyway. It would just return to 15. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 root 15 times 3 root 15, and it's a negative, so it would be minus 9 times 15. You with me? You with me? Yeah. Now what? You better be. You better be. What's this? I'm going to do something in second block actually applauded because I'm going to skip some steps. Write this down because y'all know I don't ever skip steps. What's 12 times 15? 180. And then 9 times 15 is 135, right? Here's how I got those humongous numbers. Take your like terms. 12 plus 180 is 192, right? Negative 9 root 15 minus 16 root 15 is what? That's right, negative 25 root 15. Very good, class. 16 minus 135 is negative 119. Boom. It's not difficult, though. Seriously. It takes a long time, but is it really difficult? Yes. No, it's just a pain in your hind end. Yeah, but whose fault is that? I love you. I know, and that's what you got to do. You can't give up. I know. Yeah, I know. I know I don't know. I don't want to know. Cynthia, calm down. Okay. Can you look at these two problems up here? These formulas, folks. These formulas are... You need to stop doing drugs. Stop partying, okay? Okay. All right, thank you. Just Monday through Friday, just stay straight, okay? All right. And then I don't want to know about Saturday and Sunday. Okay, good. I don't want to hear your conversations about her weekends, y'all. Don't want to hear them. No, they're Fridays. That's Friday. That's right. Shalala. Here we go. Shh. Here we go. So we got the sine formula for the double angle, which you have seen like last week. And I said, no, don't do that problem. You don't know how. It's a double angle. And you found out, yep, you didn't know how to do that yet. I could derive all this. Folks, you're going to be using the formulas off of a card. I'm not going to make you memorize them. If you had to memorize the formulas, then it would make good sense to derive every single one of these, and you would understand why they are what they are. But for our purposes, we're not going to. Not today. Hold that thought. We're going to put some things on the card, but not this. Not just this. Look at this cosine formula, though. Is there anything we could substitute in? No. Do you know from your card already, and some of you know this from memory? 1 minus who? I know from my card already that cosine squared is 1 minus sine squared. And then I'm going to bring down the minus sine squared that's already there. Atta girl. And when we combine like terms, we get 1 minus 2 sine squared. Very good. Well, that's just another version of this formula. Okay? Now, and I want you to look at it. So now I've got two cosine double angle formulas. What if I were only given sine information, Cole? Which formula would I want to use? The first one. If I were only given sine information, which one would I want to use? The second one. Okay? Now, same thing can apply if I were to substitute in for sine. Couldn't I have 1 minus the quantity of 1 minus cosine squared x? Look what I did. Go back to the original, which is here. Didn't I just substitute 1 minus cosine squared for sine squared? That's off the card. That's what we've been doing. This one is from, hold up. It's a mess up. It's supposed to be cosine squared x minus, my bad. Thank you. So look, here's this, which we are just writing down, minus, and then we're substituting sine squared x with the quantity 1 minus cosine squared, right? Then what do we have to be careful about when we subtract a quantity? You got to distribute that 1 that's there but not there. So we would have minus 1 plus cosine squared, which is just the work. How would we simplify that? Say it again. Right on. So now we have another cosine formula. For the sine double, that's all we need. That's the only one we need. But the cosine, it just kind of opens itself up for lots of different options. 3 different formulas for the cosine, and that makes sense, doesn't it? I understand that, how we substituted 1 minus sine squared in for cosine, and I understand how we replace sine squared x with this quantity 1 minus cosine squared. And then it's just algebra, okay? Done with those. What's next? Tangent, okay? Now we have to think about tangent. All right? Tangent, because it's a combination of sine and cosine, we got 3 formulas. Don't try to figure it out. I assure you. I could give this to you as a verifying problem. You have to have all 3 of those. Anything with a arrow pointing towards it needs to go on your card. So you've got 1 for sine, 3 for cosine, 3 for tangent. So you should have, that should be 7. That's 7, yeah. 7 formulas on your card. And I'm going to back this out so you're going to do the same thing you've been doing, drawing the triangle. Here's the problem. If the cosine of x is equal to negative 2/3 and x is in quadrant 2, you're going to find cosine of the double angle and sine of the double angle, okay? Cosine of x is equal to negative 2/3 and x is in the second quadrant. Find the double angle for cosine, double angle for sine. Now, that looks a whole lot like what we've seen in the past, doesn't it? Where do I even start? What's in the second quadrant? X, which is what? My angle. That means in the second quadrant, there's this angle which is part of a right triangle. I'm going to throw my angle X in the same spot I always throw it. I'm going to put up here that this is in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, it's negative, positive, negative, isn't it? Cosine, sine, and tangent. Right on? You with me? And then what am I going to do? Do what? All right. Cosine. Some old horse caught a horse. What's 2 and 3? Which is the adjacent. 3 is the hypotenuse. Ooh. What now? I got to find the stinking third side using Pythagorean equation. So 3 squared equals 2 squared plus 9, 4, 5, root 5. Do you guys agree with that? Thanks. Do you guys agree with that? That's going to be the pain in our butt, is trying to find that third side if it's not a what? If it's not a triple. Okay? Now, typically, what would I make you do at this point? I would make you write out the sine of the triangle, the cosine of the triangle, and the tangent. But I'm not going to do that. You're going to know this. I'm not writing it over there. Okay? You better be mindful of your signs. Okay? I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to make you do something that I'm talking to myself here, ought to be able to gather from a picture. That's why we draw the picture. Let's use the picture, okay? So we got to find cosine of 2x. Write the formula. Cosine of the double angle is cosine squared minus sine squared. Right on. Be careful of your signs. This is the part that will bite you if you're not careful. Cosine of x. Well, what is cosine of x? Some old horse called a horse. It's 2/3, but it's negative y because it's in the second quadrant. So we've got negative 2/3 squared minus, what is the sine value in that triangle? Root 5 over 3, and it is positive or negative? Positive. Good, whoever's saying it. Not really paying any attention. And then, folks, this is gravy. Negative 2/3 squared is what? 4/9. Minus, what's the root 5 over 3 squared? It's 5 over 9. And then what's, I mean, come on. For real? Negative 1/9? Seriously? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the cosine of the double angle, okay? Cosine of the double angle is negative 1/3. How are we going to find sine? Which formula do you want to use? Anybody? Well, then what is it? Is it 2 sine cosine? I don't know. Oh, thank you. All right, so it's multiplying fractions, y'all. 2 over 1 times. Well, what was the sine value we used over here? Root 5 over 3. What was the cosine value we used over there? Negative 2/3. Do the signs matter? You better believe it. It absolutely does. And then what do? Multiply across. 2 times root 5 times negative 2 is what? Negative 4 root 5 over who? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. Is that difficult? No. Is it time consuming? Possibly. But is that difficult? Not at all. If you can multiply fractions, did I tell you fractions were your friends in January? I did. Do you see how much you're going to use them over and over and over again? Folks, it's really that easy. Be careful about your signs. I want you to do page 259, and that's just a preview. We're going to finish it up tomorrow. But I think you can do 1 through 1 and 2, folks. Have a good afternoon.